Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our bi-monthly MA Web Centers webinar series that we've been running. I'm pleased to be back. We're sorry that the last webinar had to be canceled, but there were some unexpected things that had come up that morning. But it just brought me back to trying to, I want to give you guys some information for how to kind of stay on top of what's going on. So I want to let everybody know that our webinars are firstly, they are conducted on the first and third Tuesday of each month. And these are continuing education type of webinars. So basically, we're picking one topic that is commonly asked questions, or some area of the web center that we're going to explore and we're going to delve into, and just kind of get some more education about that one area of the web center. We're doing that on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. And any announcements that have to be made regarding the webinar, whether it's a cancellation or what the topic for the night is, if you're curious what we're going to be covering, if we're going to have any guest speakers or anything at all, on the day of the scheduled webinar on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/official MA Web Centers, we're going ahead and we're making all announcements through that page. So if you're curious what the topic is going to be, and if you just want to make sure that there are, that of course it's happening, make sure you stay connected with us on Facebook, because we've been very, very diligent about making these announcements there. So make sure that you're a fan of us on Facebook anyway, because there's a ton of great shareable content that you guys could be using to generate interest in your web center business. We want you to share as much of that as possible. So by the way, a little sneak peek, after International Convention, we're going to be rolling out a whole brand new schedule of webinars. And there's going to be 3 different kinds of webinars that happen on different time schedules. One of them is going to be a Web Center Owner Prospecting Weekly Call, where if you have any prospects that would be, a great Web Center owner in your unfranchised business, or an intern, or anybody that really would like to evaluate the Web Center program as a business, on a weekly basis, we're going to be showing the Web Center opportunity on a live webinar, so that all you've got to do going forward is literally plug them into a webinar and let myself or somebody else give a great overview of what the program actually can become for them, which is really great. Another webinar that we're going to continue doing is this continuing ed one, where we just kind of explore and delve into different areas of the web center. That's going to continue on the first and third Tuesday of the month. And then the third type of webinar that we're going to be conducting is brand new. It's never been done before, but they're going to be monthly call workshops. And what we're going to be having happen is we have selected leaders that we've actually chosen that are going to be serving as hubs. And we're basically all going to commit to doing call workshops together. And you're going to be able to actually see different groups doing call workshops while you're doing it too. So if you're in the middle of Ohio, or Texas, or some place where maybe you're feeling like you're one of the few web center owners out there, then you can work right alongside with the highly dense areas of web center owners. And together we're going to make a lot of great calls, and we're going to get some results right away. And I'm just loving that. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff, because we're going to be making the official announcements for when that starts in the upcoming weeks, and officially launching that right at International Convention. Just a quick note, a couple of quick more notes before we get started. I'm sorry for all the announcements today. Just want to make sure we're all, on the same page. Regarding recording, we will be uploading all successful recorded webinars. I know that that we haven't uploaded one in the past few weeks, but it's because we're working on a different type of video suppository. And we've created a new YouTube page, and we're working to transfer everything over there. It just takes time. It's just tedious stuff. So please be patient and bear with us. But just so you know, it's just another way and an easier way for you to share videos. We will continue to link our YouTube videos and pages to our MAWC411.com page, which is great. So you'll be able to go right to MAWC411, or you can go to our YouTube page in the future. My hope is that this will be completed within the week, and you'll be able to not only watch this webinar, but every other webinar that we've ever successfully recorded, and you'll be able to check it out there. And finally, if you have any questions during tonight's webinar, feel free to send that to me in the question box. At the end of tonight's webinar, what I'll do is I'll read the questions out loud, and I'll try not to say your name. If you want it to be anonymous, that's fine. and I'm just going to answer all of your questions out loud. However, if you have a personal question or a question that's, really off topic, or about a different topic, what I recommend that you do is actually email me. My email is right there. It's sararose@marketamerica.com, and I'll be happy to help you. I just want to make sure that, the personal stuff, that I can be there to support you on a one-to-one basis. But, if it's not about the topic or tonight, or if you don't want the whole, audience to hear your question, definitely go for the email route instead of sending me your question in the question box. All right, well, that's enough announcements. Let's get right into this. This week is an exciting week. The topic of tonight's webinar is expanding your names list to create more website prospect possibilities. So I don't know about you guys, but most people have started out with a brand new names list, and they go through everybody. Who do they know who owns a business or works for a small business, or is well connected, or I do business with. There's all these different names lists. We're going to get really specific about that, but eventually, after you've contacted these people, you start to feel like, okay, now what? You feel out of gas, right? You feel like you've hit a roadblock and you've exhausted your names list, and you're really not sure what to do. So that's what tonight's webinar is all about. Tonight's webinar is going to identify where you need to begin, just to be very clear about that. But more importantly, we're going to talk about different ways that you can expand your names list and add to it so that you have more website prospects to continue to work with. Because eventually, I don't care who you are, you need to do this. You need to refuel your names list, or you just stop working, right? Because there's nobody to work with. And then we're going to talk about what I call passive prospecting, and every day, and how you can continue to be, massaging your warm names list funnel and moving people up on there so that you never run out of names list. And very briefly, we're going to talk about how to work that names list. Once you get there. Now, the majority of tonight's webinar is going to be on the creating possibilities list. Where do you find leads, and how can you create new leads once you've exhausted your existing ones? So just be aware of that. When we talk about the sales process at the end, it'll probably only be for just a few minutes. And we do have entire webinars that are dedicated solely to the different sales processes that we teach. All right, so let's get into it. So what is as important as starting with a names list, right? So you started your business, whether it's you're just talking about Market America or shop.com in general, or if you're talking about your WebCenter business, and most likely the person that's mentored you or that you're learning or apprenticing under said to you, I need you to generate a names list, right? That's super important, because you cannot start a business without a names list in this industry, right? In network marketing and what we do, we don't have inventory, right? We don't have to stock a brick and mortar store, but what we do need to do is we do need to have people. We have to have people to work with. So I always say that people in network marketing is just like inventory. If you don't have people to work with, you don't have a business. So starting with a names list is incredibly important and vital to your success with what we do. But what's more important, or at least equally as important to starting with a names list, is adding to it. Because like we said earlier, if you don't add to your names list, eventually you run out, and you run out of people, which is just like running out of inventory in a brick and mortar store. If you opened up a fashion store and you stocked it with all kinds of beautiful clothes and items and accessories or whatever, and you sold them all, what would you do if you wanted to stay in business? You would either close your doors because you ran out of inventory, or would you restock the shelves? Most likely, if you were in the business for the long run, you would have restocked the shelves. And that's exactly why we're talking about what we're talking about tonight, right? Names in our business is inventory. And here's the example that I want to give you. Names in our business is also similar to fuel in a car, right? When you buy a brand new car or a used car, or whatever, it generally comes with a full tank of gas, right? I don't know about you, but I just got a new car a few weeks ago, and they complimentary free tank of gas, totally full. And I drove it, and eventually it ran out, right? Because when you drive the car, you burn the fuel and you run out of gas. So when you run out of gas, these are the questions that, you would ask yourself, I guess. Is that the end of the life of the car? Is the car dead? Should you stop using the car? Is the car broken? Does the car not work anymore? Is it unrepairable? Do you stare at it and kind of wish for it to drive again, or do you wait for it to magically just start driving again? Do you just kind of ponder like, hey, I've got this really great car and it ran out of gas and it's not working anymore and I don't know how to make it work? Well, the answer is really simple. You just take it to a gas station, you put more gas, and the car works again. The same thing is true in our business, right? That car was not broken. You just needed fuel, right? The same thing is absolutely true whether you're evaluating yourself in your actual Market America business, or if you're evaluating where you are in your website prospecting part of your business. It's true. If you run out of business possibilities or website prospects, your web center business is not broken. It's not over, and it's not going to fix itself. You have to refuel your possibilities. You can't just stare at your web center and just wait for it to magically produce prospects. That's your job, right? The MA Web Centers teams of professionals, they do all of the heavy lifting for us. They handle our sales appointments. They handle customer care and technical follow-up. They handle upgrading the product, right? Technology is also very much like fashion, right? It goes out of style and it needs to constantly be changing. And guess what? MA Web Centers does that for us as well. Wait till you hear all of the amazing new free product enhancements that all of our clients are getting. And guess what? As web center owners, we did not have to pay for those. We did not have to take care of that. They do all of the heavy lifting for us. They even have designers over there. So get this, guys. What is our job? Our job is to find the prospects. Our job is to not look at our web center and think it's broken when we run out of them. It's just to create some more. So where does it start? Well, the Web Center Getting Started Guide is where we all begin, right? We all started with that same website possibilities list, and we're going to keep working it to keep it growing. So let's just really quickly, before we talk about new ways, let's just review where everybody needs to start. And I mean everybody. I do this, by the way, every couple of months. I mean, I'm not on any regular schedule for how often I do this because I just think that would be kind of weird. But when I run out of Nameslist, the first thing I do is I start over. And I do that with my business building as well. If I feel like I've hit a roadblock, I just start over. I pretend like I don't have my two people, even though I definitely do. I pretend like I don't have them and I go look for two great people. If I run into a roadblock with my web center, and I feel like I've run out of possibilities, the first thing I do is I go back to my web center getting started guide and I start over and I redo my names list. That's just the very basic thing, right? We start by racking our heads around who do we already know. And the chances are, if you made a names list a few months ago and you've worked it for a couple of weeks, you probably met some new people. So at the very, very core, fundamental level, you probably have new names to add to it right off the bat without having to do anything at all, right? Because you've already met new people. Remember, warm markets are key. They're great to start conversations because they're natural, they're organic, they're easy, and they're also excellent sources of leads. I'm going to talk about how. So just to recap, here is how we all get started, right? We all start with this very basic names list. It's in the Web Center Getting Started Guide. You can download this on mawc411.com, and you start with the very basic names list. Who do you know who owns a business? Do you know any business owners? Does your neighbor own a business? Does your sister own a business? Does your best friend own a startup company? Whatever. Who do you know that owns a business, right? Who do you know that works for a business? Never discount people like waitresses or secretaries or janitors. These are people that have a direct line and generally are very trusted employees of small to medium-sized businesses, right? I always said, actually, one of my colleagues when I used to teach at music in a high school, she always said to me, this is a life lesson that kind of stuck with me. And she said, for whatever you're doing or whatever group you're running or whatever class you're teaching, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Always make friends with secretaries and janitors. They will make your life better. And it's true. These are great people and they have direct lines of contact with other people that you as a web center owner, really would like to talk to. Who do you do business with? Where are you a patron, right? Where's your favorite restaurant? That's the easiest place to start. Everybody goes out to eat, right? Maybe not everybody has a lawyer or maybe not everybody has a car detailer, but everybody's been out to a restaurant. So you can at least start there. Who do you know that's well connected and who do you want to get to know? We're going to talk more about this in a little bit. But here's a little quick cheat sheet of places to get your mind thinking. And again, right? If you had done this 3 to 6 months ago and you're going to start at the very basic level, if I'm just going to start over, I'm going to write a new names list, the chances are you've tried out a new restaurant, or maybe a friend joined a new gym, or someone you know got their hair done at some new hair salon and told you about it, right? So again, at the very basic first step level, you can at least start there with just starting over. It's like, honestly, it feels so great. And like I said, I do it all the time, even with my business. So we're going to explore 4 very specific methods for expanding your names list. We're going to start with social media. And we're going to talk about spreading out your spending. We're going to talk about networking groups, and we're going to talk about referrals today. And then there's a fifth thing that you're going to see a little bit later as well. But let's start with social media, right? I think this is all the rage right now. I think everybody's on Facebook. I think everybody's grandmother is on Facebook. It's an excellent place to meet people, and it's because there are people everywhere, right? I mean, the best analogy is social media is basically like a coffee shop that people sit at all day long and interact, right? So think about 10 years ago, if you wanted to go out and meet new prospects, you had to, like, Elizabeth Weber or these really awesome business builders that we have in our business. What did they do? They went and they like raided stores, or they hung out at, bookshops or coffee shops or wherever, and they just sat there and waited for people to come to them. Now, listen, that takes a lot of time, and it's an excellent way to meet people because you get that human interaction, that eye contact and that FaceTime. That's excellent. I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm just saying that social media is faster, and at this point social media is such an acceptable way to communicate. It's not weird. It's not at all, in my opinion, a cop out. It's a really great way to be efficient and to connect with people, right? And it's like I said, this is a very normal way at this point that people talk and that people stay connected. There are people that I talk to on social media that I would have lost touch with, and I had lost touch with because just after college, right? So I just had a 10-year reunion about a few years ago, and even then it was so weird. We went to the 10-year reunion, and I guess for most people that 10-year reunion is kind of like a chance to get to know what people have been up to. And I feel like I was part of that first generation that went to those kinds of reunions and everybody already knew what was going on, because everybody's already still staying connected. And it didn't matter that, I moved from New Jersey to Massachusetts and my friend Laura moved to, Atlanta, and so went to literally Spain. It didn't matter about all those things because social media keeps you connected. And so if you're not leveraging that, you're really missing out on a big way. So what I want to do is I want to talk to you about how to leverage that. Facebook, Twitter, what's the right etiquette? How do you do just some very basic searching, and how do you share the right kinds of contact, and really how do you effectively prospect on social media? Because there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. The wrong way to do it is very basic. You don't want to become like an advertisement for a product or a business or something. What it's going to come down to is having a social media presence is all about personal branding. It's about online socializing. And you have to understand that that is the number one goal for you as a business owner and as an entrepreneur and as a web center owner. If you're not personally branding yourself online in a way that's going to leave it open for multiple types of conversations, then it's not going to work as well as it could, right? The point is, leverage social media for meeting, engaging your prospects, so that you need to have this happening. And I think everybody at the very basic level should start with Facebook. If you don't have Facebook, I highly, highly, highly recommend that when we're done with the webinar, you get online and you create an account. It's free to do, and it's a really great way to stay connected. So here's what you do once you have Facebook. Okay, just some very basic. Everybody needs to have this. And if you already have Facebook and you haven't done one of these things, I really recommend that you go back and do that as well. So number one is you want to create an online profile for yourself. That's just sign up. All right. And number two, you want to have a solution to close the deal. And what I mean by that is you need to have some other websites that you can send people to. All right. And you want to have those set up. So if you haven't set up your marketamerica.com website or your shop.com website, or if you don't know what your distributor recruiting site website is, any of these other websites that you could be using while you're prospecting, your web center address, you need to be aware of all the different places that you can send your prospects, because otherwise you're just going to give yourself a whole lot of extra work. Okay. Number 3, this is really, really important. Keep it clean and be choosy about what you post. A lot of us had years in our early 20s and we made decisions that were, decisions of typical people in their early 20s or whatever, or maybe you're still making those choices. It's fine. That's all your personal business and that's great. But if you want your profile to attract the kinds of people that you really want to be working with, I really recommend that you go through your pictures and you untag yourself from any pictures of you doing keg stands or anything else that's compromising, okay? Because again, this is your online presence. This is your chance to personally brand yourself, and you get to choose that. You get to say, hey, I like to hang with my friends and I like to have a good time, but that's my personal business. That is not like, part of my representative. You know what I mean? When you meet somebody for the first time and you start dating them and you don't necessarily meet them, but you meet their representative, it's kind of like that. All right. Complete your profile. I know you think people don't read your profiles, but it's just not true. I'm sure there's some statistic out there that will argue what I just said, but listen, when I'm meeting new people, I always click on the about section. I always want to know where they went to school or if they're working or what they like to do. Like, I always like to check those things out because it tells me more about the person. And again, in our industry in network marketing, people are our inventory. And so for us to be able to kind of know a little bit more about the people that we're working with or that we're choosing to qualify, it's important. And we need to give that back. Choose a good picture. It could be just a fun picture. It could be, a headshot. It could be whatever it is, like a family picture. It doesn't matter, but just make sure it's clear and make sure it shows you. Typically, when people put pictures of like their animals or just like random things, that's fine, but it doesn't really ignite any memories or anything when it shows up in other people's, news feeds, right? They don't look at that and go, oh, look, there's my friend Sarah. Actually, that's her frog. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you want to make sure that you have a great picture that's usually of you. Another recommendation about profile pictures, just FYI, is try to pick one where it's you alone or it's obvious that it's you. So if you are a 35-year-old man and you take a picture with 4 dudes and they're all in their mid 30s as well, and you choose that as your profile picture, then, if you're meeting prospects and then you connect on Facebook, they might not be sure if it's you or not. So just be careful about that. Write your interests, write what you do, and be your best version of yourself. Do not use this as a platform to rant or complain. If you're going to use this as a place to prospect. I it's so funny. I was just actually talking to my husband about this, and he was like, or I was telling him, I was like, oh, I've had such a bad day, and blah 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 blah. And he goes, really? I just got home, and I was just literally like checking out you in the news feed, and it doesn't sound like you had a good day. And I'm like, well, why would I post that? Why would I post about how horrible my day went on my Facebook page when, like, what's the point of that? And he's like, well, I don't know, like, not everybody has a great day every day. And I said, I understand that, but I'm not gonna, the point is this, like, it's my page and I have it there for a reason, and I have it there to, be positive and to contribute positive stuff to my friends and family and prospects. And I also want to attract positive people. So I'm not going to throw negative energy or complaints out there for no reason. If I ever do, it's for a really good reason, and it's very far and few between. Again, it's the best version of yourself. It's a great way to attract people to your page. All right, so some very basic rules. I won't get too into these because I kind of covered a lot of these already. But number 1 is be yourself, your best version of yourself. Do not spam people. Okay, so if we find out that Market America is running a really awesome cash back deal, that's great. Think about who do you know that would actually be interested in that, right? So if we find, we're running this new BMV thing, books, music, videos, and it's 2% cash back, and it's all this really great stuff. And I mean, I know that everybody likes that, but like immediately a couple of people came right to mind. It's like, one friend that's part of a music club that loves music, and I immediately thought of this person and sent them a link. The other person of mine is she's just such a lifelong learner. She's getting her PhD right now, and I know that she loves to read. So I thought of her. I sent her the link. And it was was very like one-to-one about it. I cared about her. I sent her a quick message. I said, listen, I know you love to read. This is a new this is a new store that we have on our shop.com website, and I thought about you. So check it out. Here's where you go to learn more. It's so simple, right? It's more effective to do that than to simply just plaster a random advertisement on your Facebook page, right? Don't mass message people. I wish I actually had the screenshot to show you, but every time somebody sends me a message privately on Facebook and there's like 30 to 100 other people on that message as well, it's so funny. It's like, it's so annoying, first of all, because every time anybody says anything, it dings on your cell phone and it's just very frustrating. So, what ends up happening is the poor person that wanted to send out this message, who probably really did want everyone to read it, is now annoying people because their phones are all blowing up. And then, secondly, if you actually click on the message, all you see is so and so left the conversation, so and so left the conversation. And you just see that like groups of 10 of people leaving the conversation at once because no one wants to deal with being mass messaged. It doesn't work. I think initially people get super excited and they think, oh, I'm just going to email every single person that I have an email for on one big email about shop.com or about this product or about my new website business or about whatever. And then they don't realize how, what an adverse effect that actually has on their business. We Listen, the technology, the social media, the internet, these are not replacements for what we are. We are a one-to-one marketing company, and we specialize in social shopping. And social shopping is still one-to-one. It doesn't mean that we have to grab every single lead off the internet and just like not care about people and treat people like a number, right? So a couple more things. Keep it short. All right. No epics in Facebook statuses. Keep it visual and media rich. I want to just ask you, what do you think is going to sell a bottle of nail polish more? You clicking, sharing an advertisement from Motive's nail lacquer and talking about how awesome it is, or you painting your nails with nail lacquer and like taking a picture of your nails done and putting that on your Facebook page and saying, oh my God, I just love my new nails. And then someone will say, that's really nice. It's really nice color. And then you would respond with, yeah, well, it's, Daydream by Motives for Lala or whatever it is, right? Same thing is true for websites. What do you think is going to sell more websites? You saying, I have a website business now, and if you know anybody that needs a website, let me know? Or do you think maybe sharing a design from our design center and saying, I have a great website company that I'm working with. If you know anybody that could use a better website, let me know. That message is the same words, right? But when you attach those words to a beautiful website design, it stimulates a whole other image in the person that's reading it mind, right? A picture says 1,000 words, so keep it visual. Anytime that you can do a status update that's accompanied by a picture or a link or just something that's, first of all, personal, short, and media rich, you're going to have a better response from the people that are on your page. Share stories, word of mouth, for sure. Okay. Don't, again, the whole, I'm sorry. I get so frustrated because I see so many people that are trying so hard and putting in such a great effort, a really really noteworthy effort, and it's just it's not, and they're not seeing the results, and it's not because them sharing an ad is better or worse than me sharing an ad. It's just the fact of the matter is social media is like a coffee shop, and people use it as a place to socialize and be normal. And so if we share stories about products that we have or the websites that we sell or the business opportunity that we have in a way that's normal, then people will ask questions because it generates interest. I believe in the 80-20 personal profile rule. You don't have to believe in this. My husband does not believe in this, and by far, like, he has a whole completely opposite approach. But I'm just going to share with you what my personal belief is on these. Again, social media is a place to socialize. I always do 80% of what I post is all about just my life, what I'm doing with my kids, where I'm going. I'll be hanging out with some of our best friends in the entire world, Josh and Ashley, on Thursday, and I'll be posting pictures from there. And I'm doing that because I want people to see me as an entrepreneur with life choices and time because I have those things. And I think that that's really an attractive thing. So if you see somebody that's, on Tuesday, at 11 o'clock and, sunbathing and working outside, that's exciting, right? That's way more interesting. And I would want to know what that person does for a living a lot more than someone that says, you should come to this UBP tonight at 7 o'clock and learn about this incredible business opportunity, right? Again, think normal. Think what's normal. If I would have this conversation in a normal conversation, that's great. And if I wouldn't, I should change something. All right, share content that generates interest and calls to action. Search and respond, and I'll show you what I mean. So, in a nutshell, with social media, I want to talk about how you can now create some website possibilities and some business possibilities. All right, so the first thing you want to do is search. Okay, so you want to use Facebook as a place to search for possibilities, right? You've set your profile up, you're doing all the right things yourself personally on social media. Now, how do you get people to come to your page, right? So, number one, become a fan of the places that you do business with. Just this is going to take time, guys, right? You're going to have to take 20 minutes to a half an hour and just kind of go, okay, what are my favorite restaurants, or where's my favorite contractor, or what's this business or my salon or whatever. And I want you to literally just find them on Facebook and become a fan of them, right? Find other local businesses in your area that maybe you're not a patron of yet, and find them on social media, right? And why are we doing those two things? Well, number one, because it's just a nice thing to do. You want to be engaged and you want to support local business. And number two, because it opens the door for conversation with business owners that you maybe know kind of on a timid level, like a lower level, or someone that you want to get to know some more, right? So that's important. It's just another way to communicate. And some people, back in the day, we'd have to pick up the phone or literally walk into a place of business in order to open up a conversation, but that's not true anymore, right? Social media gives us a third way to communicate with prospects. So if we're fans with them on Facebook, we have the opportunity to engage in a conversation, right? Number two, search, private message your prospects, comment on other people's posts. So if you see, actually just saw this. One of my friends literally has a startup company. It's like a consulting company that they're doing for diversity and other training, right? So they posted something on their Facebook wall that said, I'm thinking of, or I've started a startup company. And I'm thinking of, letting everybody know what I'm doing so that if you guys know of any prospects that could, help, or if you know of any schools that are in need of these kinds of classes, I know a lot of my friends are teachers, just let me know, that kind of a thing, right? So I'm looking through my newsfeed and I see that, and immediately I go, wow, it's awesome. Startup company, my friend in education, we have a lot in common. And he has a startup company. Immediately I know that that is a website prospect, right? I've seen people also, people that I know, like think about yourself. You're a consumer of websites, right? All of us are consumers of websites. We are on websites every day. I can't remember the last day I didn't go on a website. And so we have experiences as consumers of websites. Sometimes they're really great experiences and sometimes they're not so great experiences. And people will talk about it either way. Generally, they won't talk about it if it was just a regular old, mundane experience. But if it was really great or really bad, they're going to talk about it on social media. So if you're, going through your newsfeed and you see your friend Teresa, is just so frustrated because XYZ website, like, they ordered something on a website and, or, it was something bad happened, right? That is an opportunity to then, reach out because you've searched and you've listened and you've identified somebody with a need, right? If you see somebody else that says, I just had the awesomest, experience. I just had, so and so come start, cutting my lawn, and now I'm going to have them cutting my lawn every week. They're awesome, and they didn't provide a website. That's searching, right? That's going, wow. So and so cut your lawn, and you're gonna hire them to cut your lawn every single week now. How do I learn about them? Do they have a website? And they'll either say yes or no. And then that's an opportunity for you to check it out. Do they have a website? These are great places to find new people simply by listening and searching on social media. So listen for your friends, your family, your colleagues, and who may have a need. They're going to complain about poor online shopping experiences, starting a new business, a new job, all kinds of stuff people talk about on social media because, like I said, it's like a coffee shop and everybody's together and everybody's is communicating. Next, so you've searched, you've listened, you've identified some people with a need. The next step is really important. I think too many people skip the ask section and they go right to share and recommend. So if you find somebody with a need, the next step is to simply interact. Ask an open-ended question that would lead to more information being shared. So if you saw somebody that was complaining about a poor online shopping experience, ask them, what was the problem? What happened? What didn't you like about it? Get them talking, right? Or if you hear of someone that's starting a new business, like my friend that's starting that consulting business, ask them more about it. That's really great. When did you start? This is, do you have any clients yet? Are you doing anything to advertise? Get them talking, right? Because the more that you get them talking, or the more you guys interact, and by talking, I literally mean typing on Facebook, or texting, or on the phone, or face to face, however it happens to work. But by interacting based on what you found on social media, you now have way more information to make a quality recommendation. And in this case, that would be a website appointment, right? So at this point, you could either share something with them to support what you're about to recommend, or you could just recommend an appointment, right? So some people might say, like my friend actually was like, "That's really great. Have you guys done any work for consultants yet?" And I get this all the time. "Hey, I have this prospect and they want to see some work that you've done." Okay, so what I always do at this point is I share some design sample from the design center with my prospect, and I say, "Yeah, actually, we've worked with tens of thousands of small to medium sized businesses. I can go ahead and take a look and see if I can get you some samples of consultants that we've done websites for." And I'll just go to masamples.com, and I will like scroll through all of those different images, or I'll go to our Facebook page and scroll through those, and I'll save those images and share them, and I'll say, "This is an example of a design that was done by our design center." And then from there, I'll book an appointment. That is the solution to the stated problem. The solution is not, "I can sell you a website." The solution is, "I can get you an appointment. I can get you the information that you're looking for a better experience," right? Or for a great website for your startup company. Or, "Wow, your awesome lawn guy has no website and I just wanted to check him out and I couldn't. Can I get his phone number?" And then you're going to call him up and you're going to do the same thing with him and just say, "Hey, my friend was talking about you and wanted to recommend you, but I wanted to look you up online and I couldn't find you. Have you thought about that yet?" Or, how do you typically give your clients or your customers a way to share, to recommend you? Do you guys have business cards, or do you do any other advertising? Those kinds of things. All right. So again, search, listen, ask, share, and recommend. It's that simple, guys. You have to be listening, and you have to be on the lookout. This is something you can do while you're kind of sitting in your dentist office waiting for your appointment, or you're kind of, some people use social media to kind of zone out and just kind of look through how many times a day do you look through your Facebook newsfeed, or your Twitter newsfeed? How many times a day do you do that? And if you do that often enough, and and you have your ears open, your eyes open for the right kinds of things, you can really move these conversations along really well. Number two, so I'm sorry I spent so much time on social media. I'm just such a big advocate for doing that the right way. And I really wanted to make sure I was sharing with you as much as I could about that. So another way to spread out your spending, this is a more direct way, is to go ahead and spread out your spending, right? And I wrote this on here because, listen, I'm all about being a loyal patron or a loyal customer, but there's no harm in trying out new places, right? So get to know the different business owners in your area by simply trying out some new products and services, right? So if you always go to the same restaurant on Sunday night, try a new one next Sunday, right? Or if you always use a specific place to go get your hair done, I know that some people are very specific about that and they won't try it out. But if you're like me and you really just don't care, try out a new hairdresser. Go out and meet a different salon, or get your nails done somewhere different. Or call somebody, try a different dry cleaner. There's all different things that you can do. But the point is that by spreading out your spending, you're putting yourself in a really great power play, because now you're a patron of a new business and you have a nice warm in to get a conversation started with a new business owner, right? So on your getting started guide, there's this column that says, "Who do you want to get to know?" And that's what I'm talking about when I say spread out your spending, right? So, when you're thinking of all of the restaurants, contractors, lawyers, gyms, salons, detailers, dentists, doctors, etc., that you already know, why don't you think about all of these kinds of businesses that exist in your town or even in your region that you might want to try out? Now, this is really important. You want to try out these services, or you want to meet them in a place that makes sense. Simply just creating a list of every restaurant in your region is not the best way to do it. And the only reason why is because then you kind of cross the barrier into cold calling, and you take that important warm contact thing out of it, and it becomes kind of a miserable experience. And I just don't want that for you. So I mean, I know that it seems like an extra step, and it is an extra step, but it's worth it. It's way more fun, and the results are way better. Number three, networking groups. Okay, so I used to be like so anti networking groups, and I've worked with a couple of people during the fast tracks of the past couple of years, and some of them have mastered this, and they've shared what their techniques were, and I've tried them out, and now I'm all about it. And what it came down to was networking groups have always worked. It's just that my approach wasn't working. My state of mind and my way of thinking were not right to be successful with networking groups. So there are great opportunities to meet new business owners. It's basically a room filled with people that either run a business or manage a business or have some sort of involvement in running a business, right? So places like the Chamber of Commerce or BNI or even church groups. A lot of the churches in our area have all kinds of organizations where they get people together, and they do business with each other. It's like really kind of neat. They have community and town groups that do the same kinds of things. A lot of times, if you go to yourtown.org or whatever it is, you'll find that they have a business directory there, or they have business owner events, or things that they're sponsoring. Right now, one of our local banks is actually sponsoring a community event, and they've gotten other business owners to come, and they're all coming together because we have a new YMCA coming. So that'll be another great community event that's sponsored by a local bank to get to know other business owners, right? Or online business groups. There's a couple of really great ones that Phil mentioned, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I will definitely check into that and try to share that on our Facebook group as well. It was basically like an online chamber of commerce. All right. So some keys to successful participation in networking groups. All right. So in order to make the most of them, we want to follow these sets of rules. It's really, really important to keep these things in mind. And like I said, part of the reason that I was not successful with networking groups at first is because I kind of went into them thinking I'm just going to go set as many appointments as possible. And I just had one way of thinking, and it was very one directional, right? I just had what I wanted. And I went out and I prospected all these people, and I wanted them to give me their contacts, and I wanted them to set appointments with me. And I was so aggressive about it. And I didn't get any really great appointments. And it's because my mindset wasn't right. So number one is to get set the right way. It goes both ways. When you show up to a networking group, you need to be open to what other people have to offer too, and you have to be interested in them, right? So be open to learning about other people. You don't have to buy things from other people. You don't have to set appointments with people that you don't want to, but you should be open to learning about them, right? Don't be one-sided with your approach. You never know where things could lead, right? And you won't know unless you engage in a conversation. Number two, exchange information, right? Don't just give out a ton of business cards or open up a booth and just hand out a million flyers. That never works. You want to exchange business cards or flyers or whatever you have, contacts in your iPhone or whatever, right? But the exchange is important. You need to get business cards or phone numbers for as many people that you give it to, you want to get it from as well. And that's because, again, it puts you in a more powerful position where you're now not just waiting on them to call you, but you can make the choice to call them first if you want to, right? Number three, ask questions. Networking groups are an incredible, it's a great open platform where you can now all just get together and talk and whatever, and don't sell. Don't open up your jacket with all the watches and try to sell people, right? You don't want to be that person at a networking group. It's a great time to identify qualified prospects, and the best way to qualify a prospect is to get them talking about themselves. So ask questions. Great. What do you do? Oh, that sounds really interesting. How long have you been doing that for? Oh, really? Almost 10 years. That's Awesome. I mean, wow. How have you stayed in business so long? I mean, a lot of people have been struggling. How do you guys find all your clients? Oh, really? So do you guys do any advertising? Oh, you do. Interesting. Do you guys have a website? Oh, you don't have a website? Interesting. Why not? Right? And you just keep going with questions. It's a very natural progression of questions. And the less you say and the more they talk, the more opportunities you have to identify a need with those people at the networking group, right? Describe your client. So when they ask you what kind, this is a very popular question at networking groups where they ask you to describe your big fish or who you're looking for, or what kind of client do you like to work with? Now, we know that we can work with all kinds of clients, right? We work with all kinds of small to medium sized businesses and we don't discriminate. We don't only work with one business or another, right? But sometimes when you're talking to people, because our type of client is so vast, there's so many options. It's hard for them to think in a focused way and give us an actual referral, right? So if we say we work with all small to medium sized businesses, that doesn't trigger any one type of person in somebody's mind a lot of times. So what I like to do is, especially for things like BNI, where you come in every single week and you're kind of seeing the same people, is just focus on, either one kind of client or one specific industry once a month or once a week or whatever. So say something like, well, we actually work to help small to medium sized business better leverage the internet. And right now we're really focused on finding, more restaurants to work with. And immediately the person that you're talking to is going to say, oh, really? Wow. I actually know a ton of people that are in the restaurant business. Let me think about that, and maybe I can send some people your way. Right? Isn't that more effective and more focused than just saying I work with small to medium sized businesses, right? And it's important to say right now I'm working with restaurants mostly, right? Because you want to be able to go back to that person and say, well, we've been working and we got a ton of restaurants, and right now we're actually expanding and we're looking to work with more roofers, right? Or whatever industry is comfortable for you. And number five, focus on the appointment, right? The networking group is not an opportunity for you to sell a website. There's not enough time to do that, not enough time to do that at all, or especially not to do it right, but really at all, right? So what you want to do is you want to get them talking and focus on the appointment. All right, another quick tip about networking groups: follow up. All right, so networking groups are an excellent opportunity to get the ball in motion, but the follow up is where all of the magic happens, because that's what you've been focusing on, right? Is that opportunity to set an appointment, right? If you don't follow up, you might as well have not gone at all. Right. This is another really big thing. So, I just want to make sure, because this is the part B, and if you don't do part B, the whole thing falls apart. And I don't know about you guys, or if you've ever dealt with this, or if you've ever had people in your organization that have dealt with this, but where they have a negative spouse or someone that's negative at home and says, well, you're not making any money, or you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And meanwhile, this person's only going out and showing a plan or meeting prospects every other week. Okay, well, if you only go out every other week, then all you do is waste time, because all you're doing is putting stuff into motion that you never finish, that you never see through, that you never complete. So in the eyes of your spouse, or the negative person in your life, all they see is a whole bunch of nothing, right? And all it is you're actually doing great things. You're going out there, you're prospecting, you've shown the plan, but you forget the part B. And because you never do the part B, the follow up, nothing ever comes out of it. Right. And with networking groups, especially because the focus is so much on just starting a relationship and getting the ball moving, the follow up is crucial to success, right? It's very, very crucial. So that was another thing that I was really missing a few years ago that I've really worked on, and that's another reason why I now am a fan of networking groups. All right. Number three, be open to all possibilities. You never know where the leads that you've made are going to take you. I've had so many times where I've met people at these events, and I qualified them, and I thought they were a great, prospect for, a website, but in reality, they were an awesome prospect for Nutrimetrics, or like vice versa. Right. And so again, if you just leave it open and you stay open to listening and seeing where things go, You don't force anything, you don't alienate, and you don't like stomp out opportunities that that existed, right? You may have started out thinking someone was a great website prospect, they turned out to be a great business prospect, or maybe you thought someone wasn't interested in a website at all, but it turns out that they were a highly qualified website prospect. Maybe they were just really busy that day, or maybe they had some other people that they needed to get to. You just never know unless you follow up. And again, so you never know where things are going to take you unless you follow up. And to be quite frank, you never get any results unless you follow up either. So the follow up is very important. Going to the networking group is just part A. It's just how to create new possibilities. But the follow up is how to turn those possibilities into results. And number 4, referrals. I love this. We just did our webinar on working through um, business partners of ours that specialize in other areas of the business. And basically, the point was to leverage or maximize relationships with other business partners and their customers to build share of customer and sell websites. Okay, that was a mouthful. In any case, do any of your friends, your family, your colleagues, your clients, your neighbors, your business partners, do they go out to eat? Do they get their hair or nails done? Do they have a doctor? Do they have a dentist? Have a lawyer? Have they had work done on their homes? Have they had work done on their face? Have they ever needed a plumber? Do they belong to a gym? Do they have kids that take dance or sports or do karate? Do they shop at any stores? Do they shop online? Right? These are great centers of influence. What about people that are just well connected in general, that tend to know lots of business owners just because of the nature of their business, right? Real estate agents, insurance agents, waitresses. Oh my gosh, waitresses and bartenders know everybody under the sun. Fitness instructors. They generally that's another little gem, you guys. Fitness instructors generally don't work at just one gym. A lot of times they teach classes at multiple kinds of gyms or facilities or organizations like, the Y or, local dance studio, and they also work at XYZ gym, right? Hairstylists, coaches, community leaders, church leaders, organization leaders, unfranchised owners who specialize in other areas, right? These are all people that know a ton of website prospects if you just teach them how to do this. I was just talking with a girl today, actually. Her name is Julie, and she used to she went to school for marketing and advertising and that kind of thing, but then she started working in the car business and finance and recently walked away from her job. So she's now focusing on WebCenters along with other parts of her business as well, to kind of supplement her income since then. And what's really, really cool about that is I said, well, listen, you know what, you know a lot of people, and so you could start with your warm names list, but it seems like you actually know a lot of people in the industry. Why not call them up, let them know that you've started working with a really great company that helps businesses leverage the internet with a better website presence, and let them know that you're involved and that you have this really great connection, and ask them for referrals. And it's like magic, you guys. People go, oh, really? Well, that's awesome. So I'll keep that in mind and I'll let you know. Start with your friends, your really close friends, or your mom or your dad, or some people that you're close with, and just let them know, hey, I'm working with a great company and we're helping small business owners have a better website and a whole online marketing presence. Do you know anybody that could benefit? And sometimes they'll say, actually, little Susie, I'm really glad you called me up and said that, because Uncle Jerry just started his business and blah 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 blah. You never know where those conversations will go, but almost all the time your friends, your real friends, and your family, the people that care about you, they're happy to give you referrals. So totally think about that. And be specific, just like with networking events. All right, so networking through centers of influence. I want to focus just really quickly on people like insurance agents or people that you're looking to get to who they know, right? These are people that are professionals that they take what they do seriously, and they know a lot of people, and again, it's just like networking groups. It goes both ways. It boils down to relationship marketing. You have to build a relationship, and you can do that over coffee, lunch, dinner, on the phone, via chat for Facebook. It doesn't matter how you do it, but it has to be, I would highly recommend scheduling an appointment to do this. And here's why. There's a couple of steps. Number one, build a relationship with them. You need to network, right? Just spend some time chatting with them the next time you see them. Talk to them about the opportunity of sharing business. So you'll say something like, hey, Frank, I know that you know a lot of people that would be really great for me to meet. And I'm sure I know a good number of folks that might be interested in meeting with you as well. So would you be up for exploring how we might be able to help each other out, right? So if your best friend is an insurance agent or works for Geico or Aflac or one of those companies, right? Isn't this like a really easy way to get them talking and to get them to commit to an appointment? Because you just said, number one, you value their opinion and their possible recommendations for you, but you're also saying number two that you might know a lot of people that might want to do business with them as well. So again, you keep it interesting for them because you're not just asking them to do something for you, you're willing to give something in return. Number two, if they say yes, you need to meet and learn about each other. This is where you have a scheduled appointment. You could do it in person, on the phone, text, or I wouldn't text. That just kind of sounds tedious, but Facebook chat or something like that would work as well. Same thing as networking events. Keep in mind, it goes both ways. Make sure to learn about how you can share business with that person as well. Number two, this is very important. Don't geek out. Do not be too techy. All right. Have a quick way to describe our solution, right? Don't be all like, well, we have e-commerce and we have SEO and we have design services and we have a really great CRM content or customer relationship management system and a content management system. And we also have, a WYSIWYG editor and we have photo galleries and HTML5 and all these fancy schmancy words. That doesn't help your case. All that does is confuse the person at the other end of the table and make them go, I don't know how to recommend anybody to you because I have no idea what you're selling. What's more effective is to say we provide a better and more affordable way for small businesses to market their business online, right? Let them know what the goal, what your mission is as a company or as a web center owner, right? Let them know how you can help your client more than the details or the tech. All right, number three, describe your ideal client. Again, this helps to focus them through their thought process rather than saying, I work with small to medium-sized businesses, try something like. We work with all kinds of small to medium-sized businesses, but right now we're looking to set up appointments with roofers and landscapers. Do you know anyone who could benefit from a better website strategy? And just let them think about that, right? Number three, so you've asked for an appointment with someone that's well connected. You've gone both ways. You've learned about how you might be able to help them. You've described your ideal client, and you've asked for referrals. And now at this point, you've gotten a referral from the person that's well connected, right? So what you have to do now is you actually have to approach that referral. Your work is halfway done. But now it's time to actually get in touch with the person that was recommended to you. So when you get to this point, it's really important to start off with saying, establishing that warm market. Because you don't want the person you're calling to think that they're being solicited and hang up on you or transfer you or anything weird like that. So one of the things that I always do right away is I name drop and I say who put me in contact. I say, hey, Lisa, I'm not sure if Frank might have mentioned that I'd be getting in touch with you, but Frank and I were talking the other day and he mentioned that I might be able to help you with your business. And then Lisa will go, okay, well, what do you do? And then now it's time for your answer to what is it. So you need to know what your answer is here, and you know what you're comfortable with. But it's very important that your answer has to do only with web centers, right? Obviously, we all work to help, to help people create wealth and time freedom. Maybe you have a second major in health and nutrition or motives or something like that, but you want to be very focused and you want to be very clear. And so your answer needs to be very clear. My answer when people ask me what I do, and I'm talking about what my web center prospects or my website prospects is so simple. I just say I help small to medium-sized businesses better market their business online. We provide an entire online marketing strategy for businesses. I keep it so simple. So answers to what do you do? I help businesses leverage the internet effectively to increase revenues and decrease expenses. My firm works with businesses to market themselves effectively through the internet. I help businesses cut advertising costs and save money by effectively leveraging the internet. My company helps businesses expand and grow by effectively leveraging the internet to increase sales and tap new markets. The answers are endless. What are some of yours? Did you notice that almost all of them say effectively leverage the internet or have something to do with that? And the reason is because right off the bat, I think so many people say we sell websites or we design websites, and that's not what we do. We sell entire online marketing strategies for small to medium sized businesses. Yes, a beautiful, functional, intelligent website is a byproduct of that, but it's only a part of it. We actually have entire online marketing tools that come with our websites as well, and our customer care team really looks at them as partners in business. So that's why I choose to say things like effectively leverage the internet, because I want them to know that we're bigger than that. We offer more than that, and we're more affordable than most places as well, by the way. So following on with Lisa, so this is what the example says. Lisa, what my company does is we help businesses effectively leverage the internet to increase revenues. Frank mentioned that you might be looking to accomplish something along those lines. What are some of the specific ideas that you had in mind? Right? So the key here is to end with an open-ended question. You could try asking some of the questions from the 15-minute consultation, which, by the way, I'll be publishing on mawc411.com. That 15-minute consult is just a list of recommended questions to ask your prospects. Um, Once you have enough information, you can go ahead and set a qualified appointment. So the point of this conversation with Lisa is 100% to just qualify her, get her talking about her business, and get her to commit to a full-on appointment. I would spend no more than 5 minutes if you don't have to, because Lisa's probably running her business during the day and doesn't have time to engage in a full-on conversation. The point is to simply just qualify her and set a better appointment. Just in general, with referrals, sometimes it really can help to incentivize your friends and your family, even your clients, right, for referrals. So, if you say to them, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for. I've learned about your business, or I've learned how I might be able to help you out. I'm going to keep you in mind. In fact, I have so and so right off the top of my head. I think I'm going to recommend right away." But I just want to let you know that we run referral campaigns as well, and so for every referral that ends in a sale, I give you a $100 shop.com gift card just to say thank you for your recommendation and for supporting my business. It's such a simple thing, you guys. You can do whatever you want. You own your web center, and you can run whatever kind of incentive programs that you want to run. We stick with a $100 flat rate shop.com gift card, and I write that off at the end of the year as an advertising expense. And or actually, I don't know how my accountant writes it off. I'm pretty sure she does it as an advertising expense, because it is an advertising expense. But yeah, so anyway, I'm sorry, sidetrack. I just recommend the shop.com gift card, because that opens up a conversation for uh, what is shop.com. It also gets you another preferred customer on shop.com. So you can do $100 cash or a check or whatever. But some people will do their favorite partner stores. So they'll say, okay, what's one of your favorite stores to shop at? Okay, I'm going to get you a $100 gift card to that store, that restaurant, wherever, and I want to sign you up as preferred customer. I'm going to show you how you could even earn more money than that, right? You can choose your own referral program. It's 100% up to you. I just think that it's a fun way to get people excited. We run contests all the time as well, and there's all kinds of creative things that you can do to make it your own. All right, so that's up to you. But it comes down to this, you guys. Regardless of the whatever you're doing, whether it's social media and social searching or networking groups, or asking for referrals or networking through centers of influence, the relationship matters. Um, Experience doesn't seem to show this. It does show this, that building a relationship with people in person creates a stronger bond, and it makes it easier to build, whether it's for websites or the unfranchised business. Talk with people, right? Be normal, build a relationship, care about the other person, treat every challenge as a learning experience. Be you, right? You got to care about prospects, care about prospects, care about prospects, and don't rush the process. The biggest mistake that we make as web center owners when we're looking for leads is that we want to rush it. And we think that we could be faster or quicker if we just call through and rapid fire through a names list of people that we don't know, but it's just not true. You do end up talking to a lot of people, but they're not quality contacts, right? They're just weird first contacts of people that feel annoyed that you interrupted them in the middle of their day. So if you can just commit to the process that works, number one, you're going to have longer term clients. You're going to have people that have stock in you, that have loyalty, and that, there's loyalty to you and vice versa. That's important, right? We're not in this for quick cash. We're in this to build a business, and a long-standing business. So that's number one. Number two, your clients are going to be more likely to give you referrals. That's really important as well. It's really fun when you get to the point in your web center business where the majority of the new clients that you have are referrals from existing clients that are happy. And number three, the process is a lot more fun. Oh my gosh, guys, working with people and like talking to them and feeling comfortable and normal is so much more enjoyable than getting up on the phone and calling random people that you don't know and just hoping that they don't scream at you. It's so much more fun. I promise. I promise, promise, promise. Um, and then finally, so, the other thing that's really important is when you're building relationships, you open up the door for all kinds of possibilities. If you skip parts of the process, if you skip the relationship building, then you are narrow-minded, and you're closing the door to where that prospect could actually lead you. Maybe someone you thought would be a great business prospect, the timing is not right for them to start an unfranchise, but the timing is right for them to be a website prospect, or vice versa, right? You never know where that can happen, and you never know if that would happen if you skip the relationship building. All right. So you're going to do all of those things. And then as you're doing all of these things to create new possibilities, you're going to create a brand new names list, right? And I just recommend that you put the people that you have the strongest relationship with at the very top, because those are going to be the people that you feel comfortable talking to right away. And then I want you to put the people that you need to kind of reacquaint yourself with or build a stronger relationship before you feel comfortable enough to talk to them about their business, in another column, number two, on a second list. And then the third list is that you're a patron, because you have a business relationship with them. It's different than a personal relationship, and there's just a little bit different way to talk to them. All right. So what you do with the people that you have the strong relationship is you put them at the top. You do a little bit of prospect research. You just kind of check out, hey, do they have a website? Yes or no. Just give yourself a little bit of confidence to get in there and start asking questions, and put the people that you haven't talked to in a while. We're going to talk about what you do with them in a second. If they're a business in your top 10, I want you to make it a point to go to their place of business, meet them in a social setting, if you can, and connect with them. You can do whatever you want to do, but look, the fact is this: if you can contact them in a social setting, that will be easier, because I'm telling you, like, if you call somebody in the middle of their workday, the conversation just never goes as well as it would in a different situation where it's after hours and you're chatting on Facebook, or you're on the phone, or like you're at a social event or at a restaurant or whatever. Just use your common sense. If somebody owns a restaurant, don't call them at 6 o'clock on a Friday night and expect them to talk to you, because they're going to be busy. Or if it's a roofing company, don't call them at noon on a sunny day. They're probably on a roof. You want to make those decisions to connect with these people at times that make sense, if that makes sense. Be aware of when you're going to be around them. You guys, this is a great, really quick example is what my son's baseball coach, awesome coach, by the way. I just can't even talk enough about this guy. Was amazing. Amazing baseball coach. Anyway, he always pulls up to practice in a van that has, a logo on there for a lawn company. They do fertilizing and stuff. So, I could have called him because I had the phone number there and been like, hey, it's me, Sarah, Jordan's mom. I just noticed that you've been pulling up, and I just wanted to, in that van, and I just was wondering, do you own that company? I could have done that, and that probably could have worked. But it was way easier to just talk to him while I was at practice, right? And just say, hey, is that your van? Do you own that company? And then we got him talking, and it turns out that he does not own that company, but he's ready to start his own. And so, that came into him going, well, what do you do? Right? And it was just a really great conversation. If you can talk to, business owners in a social setting, it's just always easier. It's always more natural and more organic. All right. A quick recap of what we do to engage our prospects, and then I promise like I said, I'm not skipping this stuff. It's just that there are entire webinars about this, so I don't want to get too crazy, but you've just worked so hard to create new possibilities. What do you do now? Well, social stuff, normal conversations, ask how things have been, Then you want to transition into how's business or how's work. Get them talking about their actual business. And you want to transition into advertising. The advertising is a really great liaison, bridge to cross over between business and website. If they are doing any advertising, let them talk to you about it here. It's going to accomplish two things for you. Number one, it's going to let you find out if they even have a website, because sometimes they'll just talk about it. But number two, it's going to let you know if they have a qualified advertising budget. You don't have to talk about price. You don't have to talk about if they have a budget, but you will know if they're doing yellow pages or radio or TV that they do spend money on advertising, and that right away qualifies them as a website prospect budget wise. After you ask about advertising, ask, hey, do you have a website? Bingo, now you get them talking about their website. It's all really simple stuff, right, you guys? You work all so hard. And the important part about not skipping the relationship building, we keep talking about that. We keep talking about asking questions. And, I just don't believe in scripts so much as I do in roadmaps. And so this is the roadmap that I follow when I'm talking to someone that I know my ultimate goal is to ask them, hey, do you have a website? Right? I know that that's my initial goal. And yes, I can come right out and ask the question, but isn't it more effective to follow this roadmap? At that point, you'll have to have your answer to what is it, and that will depend on what your sales approach is. And finally, this is very important. As you're contacting the people that are in your top 10, or your people that you're contacting and these new possibilities that you've created, you need to constantly be what I call passively prospecting, right? You need to be working that reacquaint this. I must reacquaint with this person. All right. So what I recommend is that you just pick two people a day from that list, and just simply reach out to them on a social level. How much time would it take you to do that? To simply comment on their Facebook page or send them a quick private message or a text message and just say, hey, I was just thinking about you. How have you been? Right? End in a question so that it's an actual conversation, not just a directed comment. It takes so little time, but it does take time. Time it does take. um, if you don't make it a point to reach out and do this every single day, then you won't do it at all right. But two a day is very manageable. You can do that like when you're going to the bathroom. You can do that when you're waiting online to go, pick up your coffee or whatever. But you have to commit to engaging to folks every single day so that you can build up to the point where you're finally comfortable to talk to them about things like their business or their website or whatever, right? You're never going to be comfortable talking to that person you haven't talked to in 10 years about their business. That's never going to feel normal. I don't care how experienced you are. If you have not talked to someone in 10 years and you know that they have a business and you know their website stinks, that's not going to be confidence enough for you to pick up the phone and call them. But if you made them one of your two people a day that you just make it a point to reach out and kind of start reconnecting with, then eventually you will feel comfortable. And it might only take a day. It might only take 5 minutes. Maybe right away you guys just get, into a really great conversation. Or maybe it takes a couple of months. It depends on the person. It depends on your relationship with them. But it does take a little bit of time to do this. Number 4 or 3, do not rush this either. Think about how weird it would be if someone that you have not talked to in ages contacted you on the phone or some way and wanted to just randomly sell you something. It feels gross, right? It feels icky. It doesn't feel good. It feels kind of like, am I being solicited by so and so from 10 years ago? Seriously? Right? So don't do that to other people. If you happen to know a friend from high school that is running a really great law firm or running a really great little mom and pop shop or whatever, don't skip the part where you just spend 5 minutes to get reacquainted. Don't skip that part, because you're going to make them feel icky, and you don't want that to happen either. And then finally, do not make the mistake of only engaging this recontact list, right? This is meant to only be like a 5-minute time investment per day that you do while you are working your hot leads. I think so often, like, we just go, this feels like a fun thing to do. It's an easy thing to do. It's so easy to kind of like private message a friend or comment on a picture and get them talking and just reacquaint. That's fun. That's easy. That's not hard to do. right? So don't only commit to this, because then you have to do result producing activities as well that are going to land you the results that you want. If you're only doing this, you're never going to get to the part where you get to ask them about their business. So really quick recap. Number one, we all start with the names list and the Web Center Getting Started Guide, and I recommend that if you did that a few months ago, that you just start there again. You redo it, okay? Use social media to meet and find new website prospects. Fan local businesses online, listen to what people are saying and respond, ask questions, engage them. Number three, spread out your spending. Try out some new places in your town. Try out some new restaurants. Ask for recommendations for new places to try. Number four, networking groups. Remember, it goes both ways, right? Go to these groups as an opportunity to meet new business owners and get to know about them and to exchange information. Number five, ask for referrals. Ask for website referrals from your friends and family and clients. Ask for website referrals from people that are well connected. Set up a time to or really describe the kind of client that you're looking for, and don't be too tacky. Just tell them kind of what you do. Let them know that you can help small businesses better leverage the internet, right? And then finally, constantly be rekindling older relationships while all this is happening, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. If you're always doing these kinds of things, you will not run out of names. If you're constantly doing these things, you will not run out of names. If you do this once every 6 months, then every 6 months you're going to run out of names and you're going to have to do this again. It's way easier to refine these techniques and when you're constantly doing them, rather than doing them every time you run out and you feel kind of desperate and like lost for names. Does that make sense? So I hope you found this helpful, you guys. That's the end of tonight's webinar. I'm sorry that we went a little bit longer than we normally do, but thank you so much for hanging on. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. Actually, hold on. I'm actually going to stop the recording first.